Today we see what you should do when you play against a kid in chess. Yes, because it's round 3 of the Maia Chess Open and today I'm playing another kid. This time is an Italian, 15 years old, and he was almost rated 2100 elo already, but he lost some rating, so now he's a bit underrated. Yes, chef, what did you cook for us today?
So today we cooked fettuccine Alfredo. Very good. Yes, Italian opponent that plays the Italian opening most of the time. But we didn't have too many games. But then I found some more games online. Very secret stuff. If you want to know how to find more games of your opponent, make sure to check out my course on preparing Alessia. You'll get behind the scenes insights. Anyway, so today, even with those secret games that we found, it seems that he likes to play the Italian, but we don't know exactly what he plays against your lines. And on the cruise, when you play the Blitz tournament, he played 1a3 against Alessia. Complete disrespect. Alessia beat him, that is nice.
But I was lost almost. It was very complicated and he was very upset after the game. So I hope that I can do some psychological trick today.
Yeah.
Do you have any final suggestions?
I think you need to be ready for a fight because I would suspect that he prepares something weird. A little bit, he seems to like to, play 1a3 against streamers, trying to show, I'm the boss, I'm so cool. So let's see what he will do today. I think could be an Italian, but some sideline, some weird stuff, whatever, or just something completely altogether.
Okay, I will show him who is the real boss.
Let's
see you after the game. So, I'm back, and guess what the opening was?
Start the clock.
Yes, he really played the move ace3, which is not such a bad opening, and in the Blitz game we played a few days ago, I played the move e5. Now, after the game he told me that he had something incredible prepared with this line, I don't know what, but I decided to change something. And I didn't prepare against 1a3, but I just decided that if it would happen, I would play my normal knight f6 and then e6, d5. That's the only thing I knew. I started with knight f6, knight f3, d5, g3, c5, just to control the center now that white is not really fighting for it. Oh, by the way, in this game there are 2 brilliant moves. Wait for it. So he played c4 and here I played e6, just protecting the pawn. I spent lots of time in the opening because I wasn't sure which transposition we would get, but then I was very happy that after bishop g2, I just went with the knight out, bishop b7, and now pawn takes d4. And now I don't really like taking here and playing against the isolated pawn, because remember, the isolated pawn is a double-edged thing. It means that doesn't mean that it's just bad or good, but usually the best setup against the isolated pawn is exactly with the bishop in fianchetto. Why? Because you're directly attacking this one. Plus the knight is blocking my isolated pawn, and usually if you have the isolated pawn you would like to push it forward and maybe to trade it for some of the good pawns of your opponent. So I didn't want to go for this and I cooked up the idea of c4. I have now more space on the queen side and I exploit the weakness of the move a3. I was like, now you see, don't play the move a3. And I was very happy that with the black pieces, after a few moves, I already got a completely equal position, at least according to the engine. He played the move b3. And now I spent an eternity thinking, don't do this, be quick, don't overthink. I was thinking like, okay, I can play b5 to protect this pawn, so after pawn takes I take back. I can play knight a5, so after pawn takes I take back with the knight. Or I could even castle, and after pawn takes I take back with the pawn. After millions of years, because I was calculating all of them and decided which one is the best, I decided that b5 is a mistake because there is knight e5, and I have problems because if I take, the pawn is taking and now I have to move my knight, this pawn is hanging, this rook will be under attack, a catastrophe. So definitely not the move b5. Also, I didn't particularly like this move because after this, I have basically the same problem after knight e5. This is what I calculated. And I don't really like to go for castle because, yeah, these pawns could be strong on the queen side, but I'm basically gifting white the center. So, I could have thought 1 second, but it took me some time to realize this, and I decided I decided to take this pawn, and after queen takes, we have, according to the engine, a equal position. But lots of differences, right? Because the pawn structure is not symmetrical. I have an isolated pawn. Now, this isolated pawn is a bit less bad than an isolated pawn where there is no pawn in front of it, because there is not basically the idea of rook d1 attacking like this, so it's not so easy to attack it with the rooks. Instead, my opponent can attack it with the bishop, with this knight, and with the queen. Okay, but it shouldn't be too hard for me to defend it, right? I have already a knight and the queen defending, and I can always bring my bishop here. So actually this shouldn't be a problem. And on my side, I can play for a win if I can somehow start to push those pawns, create a pass pawn. This is very far away, but this is more or less the idea in this position. All right, so I castled, knight c3, very normal, and now I'm so happy because I played the best engine move, h6. The idea is that I want to stop bishop g5 because my opponent can attack this pawn with how many pieces, with which pieces, minor pieces, bim, boom, bam. This bishop cannot attack this pawn. So my opponent could think about trading off this bishop for the knight, which is a piece, one of my pieces that is actually protecting this pawn. So I would end up, if this trade would happen, I would end up with the possibility to defend this pawn just with two of my minor pieces. And this could mean a potential long-term problem. For example, imagine white is trading this, and then the knight is slowly going to e3, attacking this pawn. This is what positional chess means. You need to understand the weaknesses and how long-term this could become a problem. That's why the move h6 is actually a very, very nice move. All right, so rook d1. My opponent is protecting this pawn because one of the ideas in this opening is to go for the move knight e5. But you can't move this knight as long as this pawn is under attack and not protected. Knight a5, I'm attacking the queen, and I played this move just now because it was possible for a very long time, but just now because the queen can no longer go on d1, which I think is the best move would have been the best move for the queen to retreat. Okay, he went on a2. Why? Because he wants to keep this pawn under attack, which is now attacked by the knight and the queen. I developed my bishop. This is a very normal move. And here, from now on, basically every move I was always calculating the move e4. In this position, if you see the evaluation bar, it looks like a suicide, but it's actually more complicated than it seems, because the idea of white is that after pawn takes, there is the move d5. And now, yeah, if I take with the knight, this is not looking good. Knight is taking, and if I take here, the rook is taking, attacking the queen, attacking the knight. This is a disaster. So it's not super, super easy. Here I need to move my bishop, and I have to move bishop g4. But even here, my opponent can still play d6. Now, my bishop is out of square, so I am forced to take. And now there is this pin. Again, the engine is laughing at me, but it's very subtle, the reason. Because after this, I can take, the rook is taking, the queen has to move, the bishop moves away, and now after million moves, I had to see that in this position there is the move a6. And that's why black has a good position after e4. Maybe there are some simpler variations, but this is what I saw during the game. Okay, so that's why I wasn't worried of the move e4 at this point, but I was wasting lots of time because I had to always make sure that the move e4 doesn't work. So he played knight e5, now I played rook c8, and now again the move, okay, no, sorry, the knight is just under attack, so e4 is not possible at this turn, luckily. And now I played again the best engine move, which is a6. The idea of this move is that I want to go one day, if I can, for the move b5 and knight c4. If I can do this, my position will be amazing. I don't go immediately for the move knight c4 because, and I think like a friend of mine was suggesting this move, because in this position, after knight takes, rook takes, there is the move e4, which is very interesting. And you might say like, okay, but I understand that after, if I take with the pawn, there is the move d5, and this rook is now gone. Well, this bishop maybe is gone. So this is, maybe I can still take with the knight, but still this doesn't look super exciting for me. So I didn't want to go for this. And after a6, so I played the move a6, right? He played rook c1, which is a very natural move. And now what did I go for? Ah, yeah, I played the move queen d6. Here, I could have, according to the engine, I could have played the move b5, following my plan, but I didn't do it just because I was a little bit concerned about the move a4. Now, engine is again laughing at me, but engine is a machine. During the game, I was a little bit scared that after b4, this knight would move away. Maybe at some point this pawn would become weak. Again, engine is laughing at me, but I had this. This was why I didn't play the move b5. Okay, I played I played queen d6 with the idea to bring the last piece into the action. And this is a very nice tip in every position. Always activate all your pieces. In this position, my minor pieces are doing amazing. Okay, this is a little bit passive, but it's needed. This rook is not playing at all. So I played queen d6 with the idea to play rook d8. And the idea is also that now finally I have the rook protecting my pawn, so I can move my queen away. Maybe, for example, queen b6 could be an idea. Maybe try to exploit somehow the weaknesses here. So my opponent went with the knight on a4, blocking a bit the ideas, and we're about to get the first brilliant move. Almost. So the idea of knight a4 is to go with my knight on c5, but I want to show you the difference between a good outpost and a good picture. Let me explain. After b5, knight c4, knight c5, knight c4, we both have an outpost, meaning that this knight cannot be kicked off by a pawn. But my knight is super strong here because it's attacking this other knight, is attacking this bishop, the queen cannot move away, this pawn is also already under target. This knight is doing nothing, because if they take this bishop, I say thank you very much. They remove my worst piece, they help me to protect this pawn with another pawn, they open me the f-file. This would be amazing. This pawn is not really a target because it's protected, and this move is senseless because after queen b6 the knight is not coming back. So one day I think some international master was analyzing one of my games, and he told me this knight here is just there to make a good picture. Instead, this knight here is very strong, so try to recognize the differences. That's why my opponent took away my knight. Now I had two options. I was shortly evaluating. This looks interesting, but I give my opponent a bit of chances. That's why I decided to take with this pawn, which is a solid way to keep control over the center. I have a passed pawn protected by another pawn, which is a very good plus in the endgame. Again, I still need to watch out for the move e4 because it would be very annoying. And I was checking this at every move. So a4, now I played bishop f5, e4 now is not possible. My opponent is starting to prepare it, huh? But I played queen f6. Now this move doesn't work because I'm gonna take here. And after pawn takes, I take with check. Sorry, I can't take here because there is bishop e4. But I can take here and I'm also doing fine. So e4 is not possible, and my opponent played knight d3 because yeah, that knight there was doing nothing. So now they are trying to go towards the square on e5. It's a good idea in my opinion. Rook e8, I bring the rook to the action. Knight here attacking the queen, I move the queen. Now you start to see some tactical ideas. For example, I was hoping for the move bishop a3 because I can trade and boom, because this pawn is pinned. But of course my opponent moved immediately the king out because he saw already the danger. And now I played bishop d6. I'm slowly improving my position. I'm clearly better here because all my opponent pieces are very passive. This pawn is very strong. There's just one problem, the move e4. I always need to watch out for this move. And this move happened. But as you can see from the engine, it is not amazing. But the reason is incredible. I think now it's time to remove the evaluation bar because I want you to focus on the moves. We have a brilliant move incoming. And here for me, that is a little problem. Because if I take this pawn, there is knight takes. And the queen and the bishop are under attack. My position starts to become very messy. So what am I going to do here? If I move this bishop away, well, then this pawn is taken and then this pawn is falling anyway. So what am I going to do? If I take this knight after, what is he doing if I take the knight? Well, after pawn takes, two pieces of mine are under attack. I'm losing a piece. So here, I took here. And after knight takes c4, boom, I sacrificed the rook. And this is brilliant because there are some very, very nice tactics. After rook takes c4, I played bishop e6. Now in this position, if you turn the engine on, the evaluation bar, the position is very good, and the favorite move of the engine is incredible. Is e take of f3. Because after this, there is apparently rook e3. I feel like here white is saving, is basically keeping the exchange, but here you sacrifice the other rook, and after rook takes, boom, you pin this rook. The only move is rook d3, and here apparently black after bishop d5, this and this is completely winning, which is incredible. But I saw another idea, which is also, I don't want to spoil you the second brilliant move, also quite good, bishop e6. Now, I cooked up something amazing. Of course, if my opponent is taking back, I'm taking here, and if the queen takes, boom, I'm winning a piece. Now, there is this move, but I should have at least some very good, oh yeah, just knight g4 is super strong because after this, it's a fork. So the fork is not good. So here, after bishop e6, my opponent played the move d5. And I took this pawn. And now there is just one move that my opponent has to try to save this position. It's still worse for black, but it's still worse for white, but they can defend. And the move is bishop d5. It's impossible to understand the reason behind this move, why this move would save white. I will show you, especially look at our time. I have 2 minutes, he has 4 minutes. So we really are running out of time. So what he played here is a very human move. He took this bishop. What is his idea? That after knight takes, is going to take this pawn. And the position looks more or less equal. Here, I actually had cooked up something amazing, because my opponent could also decide to go for bishop take f6. What is the idea? That after, well, once I take here, the queen is taking. Once I take here, the pawn is taking. And this endgame is a draw. But my plan was amazing, because after bishop take f6, I would have played the move pawn takes f3. This position is dead lost for white, yeah. Because after rook takes, yeah, there is checkmate, baby. And if this bishop cannot be taken, the threat of winning the rook is still there. I don't have to hurry to capture this rook. I'm first taking this pawn, attacking this bishop. This bishop cannot move because I'm pushing, and after bishop here, bim, boom, bam. So my opponent cannot do anything. This position is just hopeless. That's why here, maybe, he took with the rook my bishop. And let me not spoil you what is going to happen. I took here, again, the only move that is saving white is again bishop d4. And the reason is that after pawn takes, I am playing the move queen f2. I'm not moving my knight, which is under attack, but I play queen f2. And the idea is one more time that after pawn takes, I slide here and I'm going to give checkmate. Of course, my opponent has some more moves. I'm also threatening, okay, yeah, I'm also threatening checkmate, sorry. This is very important, if not, it wouldn't be as strong. So I'm threatening queen e1, which would be checkmate in 2 moves. So my opponent has 2 moves. Either he goes back with the queen or he goes back with the rook. Both are a problem. If he goes back with the queen, I'm going to give this fork. If he goes back with the rook, which is the one he played, I go here with the knight anyway. I'm attacking this bishop. If this bishop moves, it's just checkmate in 2 moves, or in a bit more. Rook here is protecting the bishop, and now I played a very simple move. Please like the video if you like those 2 brilliant moves. I played bishop e5. This bishop cannot take, he's losing a piece, and he just resigned. I with another kid, and hopefully tomorrow I get other kids. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I'll see you tomorrow. And check out my game against the Grandmaster. You'll find it on one of this, here or there. Check it out.